Hello, I am Reverend Irene Smith, and I'd like to welcome you to Generationally Speaking. Here at the table, we come and we discuss life issues, no matter what they might be. As we sit at the table with each generation, we all learn, we all grow, we all are inspired.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Generationally Speaking.
You know, I'm thinking about, when you talk about the accounts, and I'm thinking about a CD. And the CD that the banks offer, the amount of interest they pay on that CD are pennies. And they give you that CD, they say, for 5 years. But in 5 years, what you've earned on it, it pales in comparison to what you're talking about.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So it's about strategy, it's about education, and this education is not just for you. It's for your entire family. You've got to share the information once you have that financial advisor, that financial planner. Once you're set, then it's time to bring, you want to each one teach one. You want to let everybody know so that you're not the only one that's straight, but everybody is straight. And I'm saying this for whatever the need is. If you just want an emergency fund, because we know that life happens and you need money that you have access to, you have more control over it. We can create now the pension is gone.
Right.
Okay? But what if I told you that you could turn your 401k into a self-created pension?
And speaking of that, talking about pensions, that leads us into the discussion of for those who are still working and your company offers a retirement plan and they offer you a percentage. You put in so much and they'll equal it. So what should a person do? Because people say, I can't afford to put money in because I'm not making that much. And so I just put in the bare minimum into that retirement plan.
Okay, well, it depends on where they are in the stage of their life.
Okay.
If it's a 20-year-old or 30-year-old, I would say take the match.
Okay.
Most definitely max it out. Because remember what I said earlier, you're either going to pay now or you're going to pay later. And if you pay later, you're going to suffer through it, though. So the stock market, yes, is futile. It's up and down, up and down, up and down. You're going to have to figure out what's the best way for you and your family. You can put the money in, let them match it, and you can have a self-created retirement as well, where you're not going to lose a penny. But you want to be diversified. It's very, very important to make sure that your portfolio is diversified. Here again, having that financial needs analysis and knowing your goals will enable us to be able to give you recommendations that will give you the ideas to help you get to whatever that end goal is. But it's a strategy and it's a journey. It's not something that's going to happen tomorrow. You have to understand that this means it takes time. You have to be faithful with it. You have to stick with it. It takes diligence, and you have to remember to pay yourself first. Pay yourself first.
I love that. And that question goes to persons who are employed by a company, a business, or whatever. But I want to sort of shift gears to those persons who are entrepreneurs, who are independent contractors. What do they need to do now to make sure that when they get to that age of retirement, or that age when they want to slow it down, that they have built a source, a resource that they can pull from, because they've been getting paid these contractual amounts of money. What do they need to put in place to make sure that that contractual money that they've gotten over the years, they have a way of showing a return for it?
Okay, so Every entrepreneur, every business owner should have an emergency fund. They should have at least a minimum of 6 months of expenses in an account. Not just in a savings account, though. You want to put that in an account that's going to give you a higher rate of return. Okay. The account depends on when you think you're going to need access to it. Okay, whether it's immediately or whether you think you're going to need it in 3 months or 6 months, that determines what account it goes in. But you got to have an emergency fund. You got to have a savings account. You've got to have a self-created pension. Okay? We don't talk about that. You have to have a self-created pension because at the end of the day, you want to create a legacy. You're an entrepreneur and you're a business owner because you want to create a legacy. Okay, but that legacy means that you have to have certain things in place. So as an entrepreneur, business owner, emergency fund, savings account, you want to have a retirement plan, a self-created pension. You want to have great life insurance that is going to, if you have a partner, you want to have life insurance on your partner. Now think about this. If something happens to your partner, that money goes to the business so that you, as the surviving partner, can now still function as if your partner was alive. There's a lot of strategies that are surrounding that. Or if you have a key man in your business that if that person wasn't there, your business would drop dramatically. You need to have life insurance on that key man so that if something happens to that one person, your business does not die.
Wow.
So there's a lot of different strategies that are out there, but you got to talk to the right person to get it.
You know, that is so critical to hear. You talk about, you know, putting these structures in place, because a lot of times I met people who were, i.e., musicians, independent contractors, and over the years they played all these gigs and they've had these great highs, but now that they are no longer able, they're not in demand, I'll put it that way, like they were before. So the revenue goes down, and now they're faced with having to come to a place of a different style of living. We read about so many superstars now who are in nursing homes or in dire situations where they're having to be taken care of because they didn't put in place the structures for the latter years. And that's what I hear you saying, that you have to put in the structure for the latter years. Even though you're in demand now and you're getting these gigs and these things, but there comes a time for everybody when the demand diminishes, and we need to make sure that we have something in place. I never even thought about having insurance for key individuals. That is, you know, that is something that we all need to ponder. Like, okay, if this person was no longer, especially partners.
Yeah.
When you got partners, it's not about, you know, something bad happening to you, but it's about making sure that the legacy that we're building together continues.
Continues on.
What do we teach our children?
Everything that we just talked about.
Everything.
It's because it's a work in progress. They need to know that when mommy and daddy have been called home to glory, the ball is just given to them to continue on the legacy. Because when you create a generational pots of money, whoever gets the money has to understand what to do with it, or if not, they're just going to spend it and it's going to go. So you want to make sure that they understand the money that mommy and daddy are leaving you is not for you to spend. You go and you talk to my financial advisor and they will set you up.
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of times when our loved ones decease and that policy comes in, nobody knows what to do. And it can be a huge amount of money. And not to mention, they could have left them assets as well. And then you check back in with them a year later and you find them destitute. And it's because we've not taken the time. So how do we, as we sit down with our young children, as we sit down with our teenagers, as we sit down with our 30-year-olds, and maybe somebody even has 40-year-old, and where do you start telling them, first of all, you're not at ATM. Secondly, putting their mind, where do you start with the training? Do you start with teaching them budget and going from there?
Well, you know how our children are. It's hard for them to take the lesson from our parents. You know that old saying. So I say to everyone, put your children in front of us and let us talk to them for you. Because now it's not, oh, mommy and daddy are making me do this, and they already have a closed mind, But it's a thing where if mommy and daddy does it first, then now you're following me, because I'm not just telling you to do something.
Right.
And that's the way I work with my families. It's like, let's get you straight, and then we'll do a family meeting. And then I'll go over all of this stuff with the entire family, and then get them to see. And then I show them how the money works. Because for me, I'm visual. I have to be able to see the money. Money doesn't lie. The numbers don't lie.
It doesn't.
The money, it doesn't lie. Whether it's 2,000, whether it's 100,000, it doesn't lie. And let me just give you an example. Most of us think that term life, we all grew up on term life and whole life. That was the only insurance that was out there, right? But term life really is a death benefit, meaning you can't use it in life. Life insurance actually was designed hundreds of years ago to help you function in life if something happens while you're alive. But it turned into a death benefit for many communities, okay? And when I was on my deathbed, and this is how I knew my children were listening, I was so much in pain and out of it and didn't realize it. And I remember saying to my oldest daughter, to Anna, I said to her, baby, I don't know how mommy's gonna function and how we're gonna make it. Bills, I can't work. And she, through the tears and everything, she kind of chuckled. And she was like, Mommy, for real? She said, all those plans you have? She was like, just cash one of them in. And at that point, I boo-hooed even more because I was like, my kids were really listening. They grew up in the business and they were listening. She was like, Mommy, you can't do it. Just have one of your advisors do it for you. And I did that. I made a phone call to one of top executives, and they were like, don't worry about it. We just want you to heal. Let me know what you would need. Give me the information on the policy. And I filed a claim against one of my life insurance policies. I had only had it for 2.5 years. I was paying $300 a month. And most people say, oh my God, you're paying $300 a month for life insurance? What about $50? And I'm like, but you pay what you get for. You know what I'm saying? You pay what you are getting. That $300 a month, I put maybe $8,000 into the plan. The plan paid me $134,000 tax-free. I was out 18 months, and I did not skip a beat.
I think that is so beautiful because so many times when people become ill, they lose so much. They lose houses, they lose cars, they lose a lifestyle because there's no funds coming in anymore.
Exactly.
And the people around them have no way of continuing to that lifestyle because so many times, it's unfortunate, but so many times we have people who are living off of your lifestyle. And that's something that we have got to stop.
You're
got
right.
to stop. So talk to us a little bit about these different policies that you're talking about.
Okay, so when we think of life insurance, people really cringe when you talk about life insurance because they think about death. And what I say is you have to reprogram your mind when you're talking about life insurance because life insurance is another vehicle, it's another pot of money that you can use while you're alive. These wealth building plans, they're called IULs, Index Universal Life. And I'm going to use this story. John Rockefeller, remember him over 100 years ago?
Yes.
That family started with building their wealth when he passed. But he put so much money in the grandfather plan, which is universal life. Now, there's still universal life out there, but now it's upgraded and updated like everything else, and now it's called Index Universal Life. Do you realize that 100 years ago, now today, 180 heirs, 8 generations later, is still living off of John D's money in the universe? Why can't we do the same thing?
Yeah.
It's the education, and it's the belief that if you come to me talking about life insurance, we're talking about death. No, no, no. You have money built up in these plans that you can use, and they are paying a rate of return anywhere between 5 to 7%. Where are you getting that? The banks are not doing that. So if you can put money, add money to your life insurance that goes to the accumulated cash account, and you're just putting money directly in that, and you're getting 6, 5, 7% on your money, it's a strategy. Why would you not do it? You borrow against yourself, so Uncle Sam cannot tax you.
Okay.
You can withdraw it, but you're going to get a 1099 at the end of the year. But why not borrow against yourself? So now what? You become your own bank. Mm-hmm. It's the strategy.
It's the strategy. I think so. For so long, we've had this mindset of what insurance is for, to just that, to bury somebody, or it's been used as a mechanism of leaving something for our loved ones. But if you leave it and they don't know what to do with it, you've actually done them a disservice.
You have.
You've actually done them a disservice.
You have. There's another thing that is really pertinent in these new plans, these new life insurance plans, and it's called the living benefit.
Okay.
And what I cashed in was my living benefit in the policy. Depending on where you go, some carriers, once you've cashed in the living benefit, the policy is gone. Some carriers, once you cash in the benefit, the living benefit, that you still have a death benefit. But you have to look at, you want to put your money where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck. You want to make sure that the value, you're getting all the benefits that are due you for the money that you're putting into it. And so why do a death benefit when you can do a living benefit? You can do a life insurance. It just doesn't make sense. You're going to put more money into it, but it does more for you. So you have the accumulated cash value, you have the death benefit, and you have the living benefit. You can't do that with term.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And most whole life, depending on the company, it's designed differently. And you have to jump through more hoops than the IUL. So it just depends on what the strategy is. It just depends on the strategy. Now, you can use the term in the whole life for additional insurance, but not your only, if that makes sense.
We have a population who are living longer, and it's impacting their life insurance because they're finding out, loved ones are finding out the amount they thought they had has been reduced greatly because of the age of the deceased. So what should a person do? I guess. To find out if that's going to be the case with their policy.
They need to have their needs analysis.
Analysis.
And all of that you have to bring to the table. So everything that you're doing right now, we review.
Right. So Karen has shared so much information, great information with us. And so when it comes to education, do you have anything on YouTube, or do you have a web site or that people can go to and first of all hear more about what you're saying that you shared here, and then making the decision to make that contact?
Most definitely. My website is www.caseybakerandassociates.com. I'm on every social media. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn. You can look me up either through Casey Baker or Casey Baker and Associates, Karen Baker for LinkedIn, and I have a YouTube channel, and it is Let's Talk Money with KC. Prior to me getting sick, I had a TV talk show, and it was based around money. And I had guests come in from all walks of life, different industries, to talk about ways that you would, one, create generational wealth. If you wanted to, do whatever you wanted to do, everybody has a passion for something. But the show was called Let's Talk Money with KC. And my sessions are on my YouTube channel. So all you have to do is go to Let's Talk Money with KC, and I'll pop up. And there are probably about 20 shows on there. It was a couple of years, I haven't put every last one of them on there, but you can definitely see.
Right. So I want to, you've given your link information, but I want to help people even more, because I want my audience to be comfortable, because people will say, well, I don't know, I'm not sure, I don't know that much about her. So again, tell us again how long you've been in the business and how you found your way to this aspect of viewing money.
Well, that's a funny story. That's a funny story, because I really was not a numbers person. Honestly, if I want to be really transparent, I really did not like it at all. And every time I tried to come out of this, God brought me right back. I've been doing the business this year 38 years. It'll be 38 years this year. And I started because a family member actually was advising me on money in my 20s, and he messed up. And I kept saying, there's gotta be a way where you go and you talk to somebody who's not connected to a bank or a life insurance company that will give you like a third party that they do the research. So I started that grind in my late 20s of trying to figure out how I can help so that people would not end up in a bad situation like I was. And so it's been my mission since my 20s to just help people understand money. And so I had to, get licensed, I had to, get certifications, I had to, I have many degrees anyway or in business already, but it was more than that. It was being able to deal with these insurance companies and work for them to understand why our community is in such a bad place. Well, one, we don't know what we don't know. And two, our parents really didn't know. So we were just going by what our parents did. But for me now, it is so important just to help everyone I possibly can understand that you can be wherever you want to be financially. You just have to start. And you have to pay yourself first. It's not even, I say your mortgage. It has to go up there with your mortgage. Like, you never want to miss a payment with your mortgage. Paying yourself first is up there really in the priority list. But for me, I've been around for a while. I know I only look like I'm 32.
Yeah, that's right.
I've been in the business for 38 years. I have 2 offices. My main office is at the harbor. So that's where I am most of the time. I'm licensed in all 50 states, and I have advisors all across the country. So it doesn't matter where you are at this point with technology and Zoom and meeting and all of that. We can help you. If you want to contact us, my number is 1-866-586-9522. So that's 1-866-586-9522. Casey Baker and Associates.
I think it's important, that we begin to change our mindsets. And this show is called Generationally Speaking. And here I am listening to a younger person teach someone my age, giving me a better perspective about money. And prayerfully, no matter what age group you're in, that you too have learned so much today. And yes, for my audience who are overseas and viewing, you can contact Karen through her email. I'm going to ask her to, whatever that link is, if you give it to us again for those who are international.
Okay, so my email is Karen at CaseyBakerAndAssociates.com. Again, that's Karen at CaseyBakerAndAssociates.com. My website is www.CaseyBakerAndAssociates.com. My number is 1-866-586-9522. And I would like to offer your viewers, if they call and they say that they saw me on your show, that we will do a free financial analysis.
Wow.
We will do a free financial needs analysis with them. So that gives them an hour for us to kind of show them where they are and what they need to do.
Yeah, and now it's done in the privacy of you and those who you will want to share that information with, and it's so important that if fear is stopping you, or you're saying, I don't want people in my business, well, you're not going to have people in your business, but you're going to have a person in your business who has a company, a corporation backing her, that you need to be in your business, to be in all of our business, to help us to live better. And I want you to make sure that you take advantage of this opportunity. So you can't say, well, I asked the Lord to bless me financially and I didn't get it. Here's your blessing. Here's your financial blessing right now. She's saying, I'm going to do an assessment for free. That's your blessing. Don't sleep on your blessing. Again, Karen, I want to thank you so much for coming. Parting words before we close out.
Remember that it's never too late to start your financial journey, and you will end up in a much better place than you are now. I can promise you that. And don't be afraid. We're here to help you get to your financial wellness. Casey Baker and Associates.
All right, you heard it from Karen Baker, Casey Baker and Associates. I am Reverend Irene Ford Smith again. As I close out and I say week after week after week, make sure that you have a passion. Make sure that you have that you hear the vision that God has placed before you. Make sure that not only do you have that, but you get some knowledge. So if you get that knowledge and you have that passion, when you mix it together, you're gonna get a transformation. You're gonna be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You're gonna start to look at money a whole lot differently.
Amen.
Hey, God bless. See you next week.